Good evening, folks, and welcome to Inside and Consolidated Channel 18. As always, I'm your host, Brock White, joined by my co-host, the Dickinson Press's managing editor, Dustin Monkey. Dustin, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Feeling a little bit under the weather today.
Yeah?
A little stuffy. Had a long day at work and.
The weather, it's hot and cold in the evenings.
Yeah.
It kind of comes back and forth.
Yeah, thank my wife for that. She's the one that got me sick, but I should be just fine.
Well, this
so.
show brought to you by Afrin and NyQuil for sure. There, yeah. big
If
sponsor bucks.
If only,
folks.
Yeah, we'd be dressed a little nicer.
Yeah,
probably.
I'd probably have a stylist, a makeup gal.
Yeah, that's
works.
true, yeah.
Joining us today in studio, TR Library Foundation Board Chair Bruce Spitz, talk about what's happening there and the next step for the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library in
Absolutely.
Dickinson.
It'll probably be a little bit longer of an interview than we usually have, so stay tuned for that.
Pretty broad topic and a lot to cover there for sure. As always, though, the week in review, the biggest news stories happening around the area. Full disclosure, we are filming this on an early Tuesday because of time constraints with the interviews and stuff.
Yep.
But here's what's happening so far. St. Joseph Hospital has become a hot spot for thrill seekers and climbers and has incurred some damage along the way.
Urban Explorers, St. Joseph's Old Hospital closed in December of 2014. When they closed, people started breaking into it. They wanted to see what was in there, and obviously it's an old hospital. It's It draws out the teenagers, it draws out the young people, the thrill seekers who want to go urban exploring, they want to climb on top of the roof. I mean, we all did it back in the day. We just didn't do it in a big old hospital.
Yeah, giant hospital in the middle of town.
The biggest building in Dickinson that's
Yeah.
unoccupied. But St. Joseph's has endured about $15,000 in damages throughout this whole time.
Broken doors, broken windows.
And then they've had to put in new security systems and everything. They have a security system that alerts them when someone is on the roof. So we did the story because, last couple weeks there's been a couple more incidents, and we've been talking about it, saying maybe we should do a story on this. And then last week there was a couple more, so we said, okay, it's time now.
Yeah.
And spoke with Reed Raymond, CEO of the hospital, and he said, yep, they've had to do all this new installation of security systems
on an old property that's just
Yeah.
sitting empty.
They're trying to sell it.
Yeah.
They thought they had a buyer, didn't get that buyer. That buyer didn't come through, I should say. So now they're either looking to donate part of their building or still sell it, but it's still all up in the air right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can unload it, get it to somebody else, and then it can actually be in use, and it's not really an urban
on the roof.
Then it's not an urban exploration site anymore.
I'm sure if you organized a large enough group and call the hospital, they might give you a guy to tour even.
Yeah, exactly.
Get 20 people together and call them and say,
Yeah.
hey, we'll pay $5 a head for a tour. So
Yeah.
someone might take you up on the offer, folks.
Well, I'm sure
So-
people like to play like they're in
Yeah.
The Walking Dead or something like that, but I mean, let's grow up a little bit.
We'll wait for the
so.
YouTube videos to show up sometime
Right.
down the road.
Yep,
Anonymous
absolutely.
users for sure. Dustin, it's campaign season is coming up here, election season, November, and North Dakota governor debate happened just this weekend. Unspirited debate is the words you used.
Yeah,
that's pretty true.
unspirited. Yeah. It was pretty dry.
Yeah.
Pretty dry.
Doug Burgum, the Republican candidate. Marvin Nelson.
Yep.
Marvin Nelson.
Marty Risk, the Libertarian candidate.
Yep. Marvin Nelson,
your
Democratic
guy.
candidate. Yeah. So yeah. So,
But
there was a lot of just agreement and a lot of just slight disagreements on things here
yeah,
and there.
I mean, it wasn't very much to write home about. Let's
No.
just say that much.
Nothing
But
like the GOP National Fair.
you're going to see things really heat up now after Labor Day. They always call it the post-Labor Day
Here comes
blitz.
the spending. Yeah.
Burgum will be in Dickinson on Thursday night, so we'll have a story on that for Friday's paper.
He's gonna have a meet and greet at Sticks and Twigs, and we'll
Yep.
also have a thing at First on First too. He's gonna have a little booth down there. So,
Oh, he's gonna have a booth, huh?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know a guy that knows a guy about that. So, yeah.
So I mean, they're starting to come in droves now. They're going to have their people out here. They're going to be here themselves campaigning. Like I said, we've never met Marty Risk. We've
Yeah.
met Marvin Nelson. We've met Doug Burgum. Both are good guys. They both have great
Three
ideas.
Decent candidates.
Yeah. Obviously, it's Burgum's to lose. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just from what we saw in the primaries and everything like that. It's Burgum's to lose.
Huge
So-
turnout he had in
Absolutely.
in April.
So I
Yeah,
think that
June, sorry.
in the general, he's the obvious favorite. So we'll see what happens in the next couple
Well,
months.
and he's getting back to pounding the pavement, getting on the
Yeah.
ground again, and that's how he won
Yeah.
big time in the primary, and also the advertising dollars. He has the money to spend. The other candidates just don't.
Right. He has the advertising dollars, and we talked about it. Everybody liked Wayne Stenjum, but North Dakota does have a little bit of a history of electing politicians that aren't politicians.
Hoeven.
like especially as governor. Hoeven, Schaefer.
Yep.
You know, Dalrymple has been in politics for quite a while, but he had a career before that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you know, if Burgum does get elected, you know, he kind of continues some of the good things that they.
Outside thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
And he definitely has some ideas on the board he wants to bring with technology and kind of bring the rural areas up to speed
Right.
with some of those things. So,
Right, so.
it could be a big step forward for our state if he gets kind of not his way, but his vision is completed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Nelson is a guy, even if he doesn't win, will probably be willing to work with him as a legislator.
Sure.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sure.
And
Definitely.
Marty Risk is obviously the dark horse outside candidate, but, you know, we'll.
Contrarian point of view.
Yeah, we're going to find out more about him in the coming months. I
Yeah.
mean, he's being included in the debates, which is a step forward.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a lot of states are including their libertarian candidate
No,
for governor
no.
inside in their.
North Dakota had a pretty good turnout in 2012
Right,
Libertarians.
and I think
they
that's
had real
why,
good.
you know.
They gained automatic ballot access because of
It's
that,
not-
that election.
It's
so.
not this 15% thing like
Gary Johnson's
like Gary
facing,
Johnson.
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's an issue.
I think a man that's polling in double digits should be in a presidential debate, but that's just me.
Probably.
Double digits
yeah.
is a huge number, folks.
It is.
really
It is. It's a lot of
10%
people.
in
It's a
any
lot
poll
of
is
people.
humongous. That means
10% of 300 million is quite a few people.
especially when you have two candidates with the highest
30 million.
disapproval rating ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Anyways, digressing. Ongoing murder cases in South North Dakota. We, of course, have the murder case in Bowman and the murder case in Beach. Dustin, bring us up to speed on what's happening with each.
So I covered the murder case, the murder
Trial.
trial. Well, it's not really a trial. It was a
It's a
hearing. It was
pre-trial? Okay.
preliminary hearing. There's all sorts of different levels of hearings at any kind of case, whether you get picked up for drugs or whether you get picked up, you want to contest a speeding ticket. But this was a preliminary hearing for Gabriel Castro, and this is going to be a story that I think we're going to have to really watch. This is going to be an interesting case as far as what really happened. Supposedly, the story goes that Castro and his friend Richard Young were playing with a gun,
Doing
and
tricks.
Doing tricks. Young was teaching. Castro claims that Young was teaching him to do tricks. Young told Castro to point the gun at him, and he pulled the trigger. And
He says accidentally.
well, not so much. He thought it wasn't going to go off,
Oh.
is what he claims. So, is it murder? Is it negligent
Well, now we're
homicide?
at the point
What
too.
is
There's
it?
there's two people that know what happened. One isn't alive anymore.
Well, there's three people that know what happened.
There's three. Okay.
And
There's a third. There's one third.
one
person
is
there?
alive, one is his girlfriend, and one is dead.
Okay.
So
So now it's going to come down to forensics, pretty much.
absolutely, and the forensics say absolutely the guy died from pointing the gun at
Yeah.
him and getting killed.
But can they determine if it was, negligent, or if it was homicide, or
That's pretty
intent,
hard.
or-
That's all. I mean,
That's-
that's
yeah,
all in the
to
weeds, so
prove
you
the
don't
intent,
know.
yeah.
But to prove the intent, well, if you read North Dakota state law, it states what happened in that case. How Castro claims it, that's murder. That's how our state law works. That's
Sure.
how it's written. Now his side, his attorney is arguing that no, it's not murder. It was an accident. It was not. It may have been homicide.
Here's
but
what
it
I don't know
wasn't,
about the case.
intentional homicide.
This is my fault for not reading up on it. Did the guy that pulled the trigger, did he call right away? Call it in, or
No,
did
he
he
didn't.
waited?
He waited. Now there's conflicting stories there too. They told the cops one thing. Him and his girlfriend told the cops one thing, and then they told him another thing when the BCI
So the
got
stories
involved.
have changed.
The stories have changed. First and foremost, he said nope. He pulled the gun, put the gun to his own head, and pulled the trigger, and then committed suicide.
In front of
basically.
them, they said.
Yep. And then after that, they reneged on that and said, nope, that was not what happened.
Sounds
I
like they
actually
got-
pointed the gun at him and I pulled the trigger. And then the girlfriend said, yeah, that's exactly what happened. But it's so much, I don't know what to believe in it. I covered the case. I sat there and listened to this testimony from this BCI agent for an hour, and I don't know what to believe. I don't know if the guy is telling the truth. I don't know if he is, if he told the truth after the fact. If there was, if the guy called him the P word. He said,
Yeah.
you do it, you P word, and
Yeah.
he did it after.
Shot him, yeah.
That's what he said. And that's what his testimony is. That's what his confession was. So,
Sounds
did he
like
get
we
that
should-
mad that he shot him over that
Sounds
word?
like we should call
But-
the folks at Netflix for a follow-up to Making Murder.
I don't know about that, but it's just like
It's just someone like that's in the
Yeah,
weeds. There's so much.
it is. There's so
that
much-
we don't know. And
Was
won't
it
know.
was it a gunplay accident? Was it
Yeah.
intentional murder? Was it negligent homicide? We don't know.
Hmm.
Moral of the story: after all this is done, don't play with guns. Just don't play with guns. You're
Lock 'em
literally
up,
going to
yeah,
get killed.
yeah.
Somebody's going to get killed, and that's what happened. I mean, and I'm not some anti-gun nut or anything like that,
No.
but There is a lot to be said about gun
responsible
safety and
handling,
responsible gun handling. Absolutely.
Yep.
And that was exactly what led to this man's death.
And then in Bowman, we have the 3 suspects are locked up. They're currently in Colorado. They've been charged in North Dakota court.
Yep.
They're going to expedite them come September.
Yep,
Bring them
after
back up
Labor
this
Day.
way after Labor Day.
It'll be after Labor Day.
That's not much new there in that one. They did believe that they said he was murdered with a ratchet and strangled.
With a ratchet
by
and
the,
strangled.
by the suspects, they
Yep.
believe.
They charged him with
So-
aggravated assault. They're coming back.
Once they get here, they'll charge him with murder.
Yeah, once they get them here, we'll charge them with
They
murder
had
in North
something to
Dakota.
keep them locked up.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
Colorado,
if you detain someone for so long, you have to release them without
Yeah.
being charged. So they charge them with aggravated assault because they know that is a Loctite, airtight case. And then
Yeah.
they charge the other guy with lying to police,
Yeah, hindering.
law enforcement. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Unfortunately, the Dakota Access Pipeline has been in the news and in the news again. There was a death report on the pipeline over the weekend. A 27-year-old Minnesota man. It wasn't by the protester. It was somewhere further along the way up.
No, yeah, it was up by Tioga. It was
yeah.
up by Tioga where they're putting
Yeah.
in the line. They don't know exactly what happened yet.
Sure.
Still kind of waiting to hear on that one. We reported it on Sunday's paper, and then Mike Nowatzki followed up with it yesterday. We just got the age and the
Yeah.
location of where he's from. But it's
So-
it's just a bad deal. Accidents happen. Pipeline protests still ongoing down by Cannonball.
They're
We've
having
been talking about it for 3
classes
weeks
there now. They have their own school ground they put up. Temporary tent and school ground.
Oh well, that's
Yeah, isn't that comforting?
That's I don't know what to think about that. I guess perhaps they're in school, so
I don't know,
at
yeah.
least they're going to school.
At
But
least the kids are getting educated, but
Yeah.
I don't think the pipeline protest is the place for your child to be during the school year.
recess, go out and hold a sign. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not really a good activity. But yeah, they got the right to do it, so
Yeah,
they want to keep doing it. They want to keep doing it. They can keep doing it. It's their lives. It's their lives.
That's right.
So,
More power to you, more speed to you. Do what you have to do to get your message out. It's your life.
Yep,
your
absolutely.
message for sure. All right, folks, we'll take a quick commercial break. Come back with an interview in studio this week. The TR Library Foundation Board Chair, Bruce Pitts, talk about the Theodore Roosevelt Library.
I can't wait to go back to school. I know, sounds nuts, but Mom and Dad said we're getting internet from Consolidated for back to school. We'll have downloads way faster than we do now, so even with all our gadgets online, Dad's laptop, Mom's smartphone, my sister's tablet, I'll have all the speed I need, for reports and stuff. Plus, Mom says Consolidated's customer support makes it a great value. Call or click Consolidated today for the fastest internet available.
All right, folks, welcome back to Inside. Joining us today in studio, Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library Foundation Chair, Mr. Bruce Pitts. Bruce, thanks for joining us today on Insight.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
So Bruce, you're here in town. Like you said, you make a couple regular trips to Dickinson every month.
Yeah,
Just talk about what are you here for this month, and what's kind of the vision of the library as we start moving into the fall and winter.
Well, we are at the point now in the project where we have retained Mortensen to oversee all elements of design and construction
Right.
of the Presidential Library. I think they're doing your middle school now, so
Yep.
they're a
Yeah.
familiar.
They know the area
They know the
quite
area.
well.
They did the
Yeah.
BAC on campus there. They
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
West River Community Center. So they've built
they've
a
been
lot of
around.
projects in that little string there.
And it's important to have somebody who understands what it means to build something here. Right now, they're providing program management services for us, which oversees all of the elements of design, construction, and ties it to fundraising, public relations, and everything else. The young woman we have from their program management arm, which is called Ascent, is named Bridget Bush. And I'm here this week basically orienting her to the project. She spent the weekend here, went to the park, went to the Elkhorn, is immersing herself in all things Western North Dakota.
Cool.
So-
So I guess one of the things that we were kind of Shanna, one of your folks here and I were talking about last week was the wood for the Elkhorn Ranch cabin will start to kind of take shape this winter. Give us a little more insight on that. the
Yeah,
Elkhorn
right
Ranch
now,
cabin.
right now it's unfortunate. We're just watching logs dry, which is pretty dull. But
Everyone's gonna sit there going, "What are those logs? Are they going to do anything with those logs?"
yeah, they got to dry. They got to dry. But on October 8th, there's going to be a big event in Dickinson on the rodeo grounds in the afternoon, where we have people coming who are actually going to be involved in shaping those logs. There's going to be demonstrations about how the logs will be hand-adzed, hand-cut, hand-shaped, debarked,
Yep.
how they're moved with horses
Oh, wow.
to construct. And it's going to be a festival atmosphere. There's going to be music, there's going to be a chuck wagon dinner, there's going to be a lot of games for kids and so forth. Some of the games from Roosevelt's era.
Okay.
So I think
What are those? What are some of those?
well, one is called Point to Point, and I understand that this is something he wrote about, that where it's almost like a treasure hunt, except you have to get from point to point but you can't go around anything.
Okay.
You have to go either through it or over it. So it's very Rooseveltian.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
yes. True to form for sure.
That's
yeah.
right, true
Yeah,
to form.
definitely.
So I think it's going to be a great afternoon. It's going to introduce people. There's going to be a lot of images there of what the Elkhorn will be when it's done, what the old Elkhorn was like, images of just. We have sample images of what the presidential library may look like.
Yeah,
That'll be there.
That was the question I was going to ask you. Is as this thing kind of takes shape now, we've published those images of what the library could look like.
Renderings,
the
yeah.
renderings. Is that going to evolve here over time? Over
Yeah,
the next
it's
couple
going to
years?
evolve very much because we're at the point now of getting into talking about they call it the programming.
Yeah.
What's going to go in it?
Yeah, the
Okay,
exhibits.
what are
What
the
are we
exhibits
gonna
going to be?
display?
What's the
Yeah.
visitor experience going to be? What kind of events are we going to
That's
have there?
the crux
what
of the
kind
whole
of
thing,
IT experiences are we going to have there? And that will drive a lot of elements of design. We also are going to involve the community in helping us figure out what that 27 acres ought to look like. We're going to have a series of community forums until nobody comes, basically,
yeah.
reacting to things and giving us insight into what would be most meaningful to the community in terms of having 27 acres of property in the middle of town developed.
Right. Yeah.
And how could it serve Dickinson? So they're going to have an opportunity to react to designs. We have RFPs out now for the architects.
Good.
And those architects will be interacting with the community as well.
Has there
Okay.
been any talk, any ideas floated of what might be exhibits, what might be seen inside? Any
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, I know.
rumblings, you know?
Well, not more than rumblings.
Yeah.
Rumblings is actually not a bad word.
Yeah.
We are close to acquiring one of the 70-ton steam shovels actually used to design to dig the Panama Canal.
Wow.
Awesome.
And the architects need to know about that.
Yeah. That'd be important.
Gonna have to build around
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's
That
right.
might be the
that's
first
right.
piece in. Yeah.
And you can imagine an exhibit where kids are able to climb on this thing
Yep.
and have their pictures taken.
Yeah.
TR, there's a great picture of TR taken on
Oh wow.
such a thing, but also a virtual reality experience around it
Yeah.
that shows you in the context of the Panama Canal how tiny it was.
Yeah.
It's going to be enormous in this presidential
Wow.
library, but when you see images of these steam shovels in the canal, you could hardly see them.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like, kind of going back to that virtual reality, that digital aspect of this library. It's still in many ways going to be a digital library. Is that kind of the whole tone of this?
The inspiration for this is the great work that's been done at Dickinson State at the TR Center for a decade to digitize all
Yeah.
of Roosevelt's papers. That is the core of this. That is frankly the draw for a lot of the fundraising for this nationally and internationally. It's the first time that's ever been done.
Giving them a proper home.
That's right,
yeah.
and we're going to link that to the visitor experience.
Yeah.
And we are confident, have reason to be confident, that a number of large IT firms will be interested in helping us with that.
Really?
Because it's going to drive the idea of a digital library and the idea of a visitor experience and virtual reality one step further than it's ever gone before.
How has the fundraising been going?
The fundraising has been going well. We're about to, we're in the process of planning a capital campaign that is national. This is a local project,
Yeah.
but it's really has
It's a
national
national
impact.
project,
And most of the money is going to come nationally.
Right.
So we're very confident about our ability to raise the funds needed to build something magnificent in Dickinson. And our fundraising is very explicit. 40% of it's going to go to an endowment to support this over time.
Right.
We don't want to be susceptible to changes in oil prices or tax structures, or we don't want to have to ask anybody else for financial support. We want to be able to run it on tickets, sales, events, endowment.
Absolutely.
and
And
so-
students, obviously, too. The students at DSU are going to have a big hand in this.
Yeah,
one
the
would- one
TR
would
Center
think.
will be housed there. The
Yep.
TR Scholars will be housed there. And there's going to be a series of programs, conferences, symposia, and events over time. One of the reasons this belongs in Dickinson, a number of people say, well, why is it in Imadora or the
Yeah.
park? This is a year-round
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah. Right.
It's got to have the infrastructure to accommodate people
Exactly.
year-round.
Right.
You can't do that except in Dickinson.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and this is going to be a place. I mean, it's going to employ people. It's going to.
Yeah.
It's just like you said. It's going to reshape that 27-acre spot in the middle of Dickinson.
Let me give you some numbers. Right now, our construction estimate, just construction, is $60 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We anticipate an annual budget for salaries when we're fully up and going of around $2 million a year. Okay, that's
It's a
jobs.
big pump back in the economy locally, yeah.
Right now, if you look at current visitorship to museums in Dickinson, the regional museum up by the interstate, that's about 9,000 or 10,000 people a year.
Yeah.
This year, the national park is getting 650,000.
Right.
If we link our presence to that of the national park and draw people to one thing, TR country, imagine even if we just get a quarter of those people coming now to Dickinson, that's 225,000 people.
Wow.
Think about the hotels, think about the restaurants. I mean, the opportunities here for economic impact, if we do this well, and we will, are enormous. And I just want people to see that.
It's a game changer for the community and for
Yeah.
the college. It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a game changer for TR.
Yeah.
It's a game changer for DSU, and there are a lot of people passionate about this project who live far, far away from Dickinson.
So what are some of the things you guys hope to accomplish this fall and winter,
This fall, we're really
besides from the Elkhorn?
we're getting together all of the team to do the design, to do the fundraising, to do the public relations, so that we have a very high-level professional team to coordinate all aspects of the project.
Right.
In the winter, we will get specifically into design. That's when we're going to start engaging the community at a much deeper level to react to designs, to react to possibilities. And then, next spring and summer, we will be launching a capital campaign. Okay? And that, all those things will hopefully line up with a time to initiate construction, perhaps in a year, and knowing we have the money to pay for it.
Okay.
So, all this has to come together in a very deliberate way, and I'm optimistic that it's all going to come together well. If we don't have all the money to support the whole project, this is going to be a campus. We can do it in phases.
Right.
So we can start with part of it and then build more of it later. But I'm optimistic that we'll be able to do it all at once.
That would be great. I think that's one of the things that people have all around here have hoped, is that they don't want to see it be built piece by piece by piece by piece over like 10, 15 years.
No.
They want to see it be done. If this is going to come here, they want to see it be done, and I think
yeah.
you guys understand that. So.
Yeah, yep, exactly, and I want it done. I want to live to see the end.
Absolutely. I mean, and tell people about yourself, Bruce. I mean, you're a doctor by trade, right? You're a physician, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm a doctor. I practiced in Fargo for 35 years.
This is your passion, though.
This is my passion. I've always had an interest in history and presidential history. It's something it's been just an interest over years that I've nursed and pursued, and I just kind of fell into this because of people that I knew who were interested in building a presidential library for TR, and they invited me to be on the board. They didn't tell me I was going to be chair.
That's never how it works.
And
you didn't show up for a meeting, and
I know. Suddenly I'm chair. Yeah, right. But but our board will expand. You'll start seeing names on the board who are recognizable nationally,
Right.
and this is going to begin to assume a much bigger profile across the country.
Still looking for an executive director?
Yeah, Jim Kelly was here. Jim got ill. He has decided not to come back, but which we're sorry about. We think that by the time we get through this initial phase of planning this winter, that we'll be in a position to restart the search for a CEO, and we'll probably do that in the spring.
Okay.
We look forward to keeping our eyes on what's happening and starting this fall.
I think everybody's driving by. That's a well-traveled street. I think everybody's
We're sorry about the logs having to dry, but you're going to see a lot more activity on that site.
Really?
Long term, it'll all be worth it.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Sure,
It
definitely.
will.
Bruce, thanks for coming on the show today. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Absolutely.
It's
Thank
a
you.
delight.
And we look forward to seeing what's happening, like I said, down the road with the library very soon here.
Very good.
For sure.
Thank you very much.
We'll come back after this, look at the week ahead right here on Insight.
Consolidated is committed to providing advanced network systems and service to the business world, staying ahead of the curve by offering digital technology with voice over IP, Ethernet circuits, hosted telephone systems, as well as cloud-based networking. GNet fiber technology allows us to offer internet speeds up to 1 gig, making your network more efficient. Our sales and technical team take pride in providing state-of-the-art service to our customers. At Consolidated, we're here to listen and offer the most efficient solutions for your business.
All right, folks, welcome back to Inside Time for a look at the week ahead. The big stories coming up here in the area. Dustin, the Dickinson State Bluehawks kick off their football schedule, their home campaign this Saturday against Valley City.
Yeah, kind of had a tough loss in Miles City over the weekend to Montana Western. Now they were both kind of evenly matched teams. DSU, their 1 weak link this year, it seems like, is going to be their defensive line. They're young. They lost a lot. They lost all conference guys in the defensive line last year. They're trying to shore up that unit. Well, they ran into a running back who is literally a ton of bricks. I mean, he is just Montana Western has a running back who's one of the best ones in the country, and probably at any of the lower division levels. Yeah. He probably could be playing a lot higher level. Anyway, he ran over DSU a few years ago, and he ran over him again last weekend. Hawks lost 29-13. Not what I predicted. I figured they would be flipped.
Flip the score.
The score there. That's kind of what I predicted, but. I think this weekend they're home.
They're coming out fired up.
They're back at home against Valley City State this weekend on Saturday. It's going to be a great game.
Tailgate crowd's ready to go. I know they're fired up to get things going.
It's going to be great.
So
it's going to be a fun time.
It'll be a good atmosphere. It'll be electric for sure.
Like I say, the Hawks are going to be good this year. I mean, overall, they lose to Western, but they've got a chance. They've got a chance to do some things here. They get a great chance to win the conference. This Valley City State game is always a big one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dustin's Labor Day weekend coming up. People are making their plans. The last great tourism weekend in the area, probably.
Yeah, I would say we were joking around last weekend. The Medora Musical was booked solid on Saturday nights. My family tried to go get tickets out there. We had gone the weekend before with my in-laws, and it was a great show. But my parents, my family on that side, they wanted to go the following weekend. So I was trying to help them get tickets and everything like that. It was almost sold out on Saturday night. Yep. It was probably one of their best crowds of the year. So obviously this Labor Day weekend is the same deal. It's going to be a busy weekend. So if you're going to go out to the musical, you want to get out to Medora,
plan ahead, folks.
Plan ahead.
Get your tickets ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Make your plan to go to the taffy shop early and the ice cream shop and all that good stuff.
What are you going to do for Labor Day?
I'm working. I got weddings. I'll be on the road. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I'm probably going to be working too. I'll probably be working on Saturday and Sunday. We have a new. If you guys didn't check it out this week, we have a new design for the Dickinson Press. We are being designed differently now. We have a different setup, and it's really cool. It looks a lot better, in my opinion. We're still trying to tweak some little things here and there and everywhere, but. It's going to require me to be probably working this weekend just to help shore up some stuff. And
there you go.
So that's my Labor Day, folks. I'll be working out of the home. That's kind of cool. We can work out of the home now.
Pretty excited. I got a fantasy football draft coming up on Sunday too, so that'll be good as well.
Yep, I got to do that. I got to do that as well. So I mean, I don't know what we're going to do there. My guys got to give me a call. Maybe if you guys are watching, hey, let's get that thing set up. Season starts on the 11th. Season starts on the 8th.
The 8th, yeah. That's why
so let's go, guys.
That's why we draft on the 4th.
I know. I haven't got my notification yet, so I know what I'm going to do.
I'm ready to go. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And then if you're watching this live at 6 p.m., our first run episode, it's Thursday night, folks. That means it's our last First on First downtown Dickinson for the summer, the Big Street Festival, the concert festival. Steelheart's playing the headliner tonight along with the Cody Charles Band. Your last chance to get out and enjoy Dickinson summer night with food vendors and concerts and beer gardens and family activities and stuff. And it's been quite a run downtown. 13 busy weeks down there. So.
Absolutely. This is going to be a good one, too. Steelheart.
Yeah, big 80s rock band.
We love the 80s rock bands. They've been doing good.
Yeah. Firehouse, heck of a crowd. Trickster was a good night. And Steelheart's going to be a fun night. So
absolutely.
We're looking forward to it for sure, folks. And just real quick for me, on a personal note, all the volunteers, all the sponsors throughout the summer, thank you so much with First on First. You guys are huge in the city for coming out and attending it. You guys are great, and it's been a great summer. So we look forward to planning next year.
And for the folks who kind of some people are like, oh, it's different than the last couple of years. But you learn. I mean, that's the thing is you learn what works, what doesn't, and you take it.
This was a transitional year for the event. It definitely was.
I think so too. I think that it's going to be different by next year. I have a feeling.
Yeah, some parts will be, but some parts we'll adapt and take forward. And
absolutely,
you learn as you go, and we just try to do the best we can to give you the event and keep it free, which is huge.
Yeah,
it's a free.
People forget how much people pay to go to some of these bands and come in here. Even 32 Below, which is they're kind of a local band, but they're one of the biggest North Dakota bands. Oh yeah, people pay good money to go see those guys.
Yeah, they're one of the hardest working bands in the area. For sure.
Absolutely.
Well toured, well traveled. So. But come on downtown, last chance, and kind of the unofficial end of summer in my book. If you ask me, it's going to be nice out, and all the food vendors and kids stuff and band and everything. So we'll see you there. But big thanks to our guests in the studio this week, the Theodore Roosevelt Library Foundation Board Chairman Bruce Pitts, talking about the next steps for the library.
Yeah, absolutely, and just kind of where it's headed.
For sure.
Ahead of the next year here.
Guys, have a great Labor Day weekend. From Dustin and myself, we'll see you next week right here on Insight.